We are back from vacation and it is time to review the Qidi box and see how bad it really is. Now, judging from people's past opinions, it wasn't really good. Now they have pushed a new update, 1.7.1, and I'm going to see if this update is going to cause me any trouble and if my previous rant was a little bit much. Now, it looked like they took my opinion and did absolutely nothing with it. In contrary, I'm probably not going to be sampled in their next launch. Now, I hope you take something from this, which means they are doubling down on their decision. Are we going to see a closing down of the open sourceness of Qidi? I guess time will tell. Time to open the box and see what we are working with. Packaging these days, not a problem. We see a bunch of nice and soft foam. Let's try and remove the box from its final cage. I haven't mentioned it, but this has actually been purchased. They have not sampled these boxes to any YouTubers. So we did the next best thing, which was buying the box. If you're not a member or not subscribed to the channel, then please do, because I will need all the help. Here we have it, the first looks of the Qidi box. Now my first look of this box, it is looking really neat. The design is actually pretty striking next to the Plus 4. So I think look-wise, it is looking very good. It is going to be a great match with the Qidi Plus 4. Now inside the box are a bunch of other boxes. There is a little latch right over here for you to open up the box. Just like that. We got a power cord, a bunch of cables, PTFE tubes, the Plus 4 upgrade multicolor thingy. This is just another printhead, because the previous printhead where the filament sensor was for some people problematic. For me, on this printer, the entrance of the filament sensor is not a problem, but a bunch of people do have problems with these, so they are providing you with a replacement head. If you have the problems that you can replace it, I'm going to replace it anyway, so I can show you how that really works. We have a roller that is just rolling around. Let's push that back into its socket. So first look on the inside, we can see the filament entrance right over here. So you are going to push your filaments in these holes. We have a nice metal ring. This will avoid your filament of wearing the entrance path of this box, because with this box you are able to print glass and carbon fiber. We have a nice rubber gasket where the box is going to fall into. The first thing I can notice, we have 4 beefy stepper motors. These are going to be powering all these entrances and boost the power into the printhead. We also have a textured roller right over here, and we have a smooth one right over here. Right over here we have a spring-loaded gear, and when we are turning it in the opposite position, we can see it is clacking around. And when we are turning it around in this way, we can see that we are engaging the stepper motor, and now these both are linked. Why they are using only textured one right over here and not over here, I have no clue. They probably have a reason, and I'm wondering if this is going to be a problem with cardboard spools in the future. Then we have a divider right over here. If I have to do a guess, there will be an RFID system right in these flanges, so the system is capable to read what kind of filament is in there. Now, Qidi hasn't released any filament with RFID goodness, so right now this is only a feature that is not working. Right over here we have a flap with 2 exhaust ports. This is because this box is actively heated. We can reach temperatures in the 40s, I believe, or in the 50s. So this box is capable of keeping your technical filaments hot while you are printing. Injection molded plastics. This is probably going to be the same nylon they are going to use in the Qidi Plus 4. We can also see right over here in the entrance we have 4 dots. These are going to be probably color coded if you are going to have any problems. Right over here we have 4 ports to put in our PTFE tubes. These are probably going to be the internal buffer tubes. Not sure. We are going to remove the bottom panel and find out. Then we also have a little grommet right over here. No clue what this port is going to be for. An on and off switch, and then we have 2 connection ports right over here. So this is a very basic setup. Now it's time to fully unpack everything, change out the hot end, and then try to figure out if this is all going to be worth it. So the first look of this box, it is not looking that bad. It actually like what I'm seeing. Then we also have this bad boy with 4 entrances for your PTFE tubes. We are going to definitely need that. We have a USB hub because we are going to plug this into the only USB port on this printer. So we have a way to connect the box and still have a USB port. On the first look, we don't see a lot of differences. It looks pretty much the same as the first one. The only thing that I could think of is this is looking a little bit more stiff than the one is in my version. And then the filament sensor right over here, this entrance should be improved. Still have this little flap right over here for your extruder jams. And by the feel, there is no backlash between the gears. So yeah, then we also have a bunch of pads and stickers. These stickers and pads are needed for this system right over here, because apparently some people have problems with reliability, but we are going to try these out and see if this is going to improve anything. I never had problems with feeding filaments through the waste bucket and flinging it on the bed, but apparently there are plenty of them. Steve from Helix 4D Solutions apparently has a problem that his P4 is spitting the filament back on the bed and vice versa. So we are going to see if this is going to be a problem on my unit. We need to remove the cable of the Hall effects sensor, and we need to remove the cables from the hot end. Now we need to remove 2 bolts that hold in the extruder. And here we have it. This is going to be the old extruder. Then looking at these parts, we can see some differences. We can see that this part, so the filament sensor, has definitely been switched out. This is looking a little bit different. Then also the spring tension on these arms, I can definitely feel that the spring power of my old one is a little bit weaker than this one. So they definitely upgraded the spring in the newer versions. The way this is going to work is we have 2 bolts right over here. If we are going to remove these bolts, the USB port will drop down. So I removed one of these, and this is going to fit straight through the hole of this bracket. So we have to remove one of these bolts, replace it with the other one, then remove this one and replace it with the second one. If we don't do it that way, we will push in this USB port and you are completely shit out of luck and you can start removing the back panel. We have a connection point for the box right over here, and we have a spare USB port right over here if you still want to use USBs on this machine. So right now we have our 4 filament entrances right over here, and we have an exit right over here, which is going to hook up to our existing tubing. Now all these tubing have been delivered with the box, and it is recommended that you replace all these tubings because of reasons. Now thanks to Team 7, I already know what to do. So we need to hook up this cable, route it to the bottom port of the box. Then we need to hook up a cable on the top port of this box, which is going to be connecting with this GST 4-pin connector. Right now I haven't installed all the new wiper thingies. I'm going to try it first without the wipers, and if I see any problems I will change it out and use new wipers for it. So time to hook up the PTFE tubes and see what we are working with. And this is how it should look. We have our 4 tubes. They are running into this, what I think is going to be a buffer system. Now the way you have to hook it up, it doesn't matter. You can just choose a port and clamp it in that way. Now I'm going to leave the box next to the printer just for filming purposes, but they do mention in the manual to put the box onto the printer. They do not, however, mention that you need to shorten these tubes. And with that, I can start with the update procedure of the Qidi Plus 4, because we need to update it for the box to be able to work with this machine. So let me do that very quickly. I'm going to update to the latest one, which is 1.7.1, and then we will see what is going to happen. Fingers crossed, the new update actually fixed some things. And here we have it, update 1.7.1. This is going to be mainly for the multicolor box. It is recommended to disconnect the box power supply after the firmware update is completed. Connect the multicolor box again, and the box will automatically update the firmware update instructions and all of that. There seems to be a bunch of things that they are actually not telling you what they have changed. But according to Team 7, I can already tell you they have changed a lot of the code, but the code is still not online. So they are still violating the Clipper license by not posting that code. All right, I'm going to do the whole thing and then we will see what is going on. This is going to be the game plan. I have some ESON ABS Plus. Because this box is going to be heated, we are going to dry it first, just the same like this one. This is the same color, the same high-speed ABS from ESON. We are going to try and see if we can actually auto refill an empty spool, and then we are going to try and do some color changes with the same filament, and then we will see if they have cleaned up some of the mess in the first iteration. So the update is done. Let's confirm it. Everything looks pretty much the same. Only right now, right over here, we have a symbol of the box. Pushing it, we can see the box is offline. Time to power on the box. I'm going to reboot this whole system just because, and then we will see what is going on with this box. Everything is powered on. Now let's try and see if we have a box that is online. And there we have it. This is going to be the overview. We have 4 empty spools and then we have a bunch of things. I have no clue what it means, so let's try and figure it out. So right over here we seem to have a settings menu. Check when inserting. We're going to enable it. Check when booting up. Let's enable it. And then we have automatic replenishment, which is what we are going to try out first. I have enabled that. Then I can also see they have a tab for guide, which is in Chinese. Super handy. Then we have an eject, load and unload button. Then right over here we can see the box temperature is right now 20°C and we have a moisture rating of 59% in the shop right now. So I'm going to try and press on it and we get a pop-up. Let's try it out. Let's see. We have a max temperature seemingly of 65 degrees Celsius. So we have ABS. Of course, I want 65 degrees Celsius. The box turned on, we have now blowing noises. It is now probably trying to heat up this chamber. Now I'm going to give it a few minutes. We are now 11:43 and then after that we will open up the box and see what temperatures we are reaching. We are a few minutes in and we are already at 31 degrees Celsius and the time is 11:45. It's 11:50 and we have 48 degrees in the box. So the printer is telling me the box is right now at 50 degrees C and I can see that my probe is reaching 54°C and the probe is mounted right there with the desiccant. So we are a little bit over, which is not a problem, 53 degrees. So yeah, I would say 2 degrees over, which is actually something completely different because all the dryers, like that one over there, and this one doesn't even make claims. Yeah, those dryers are mostly underperforming the temperature they are promising. So this is actually something pretty neat. We can see that we already have very decent temperatures after what, let's call it, yeah, not even 50 minutes of heating. So 56, 54, I think we have enough proof that this box is very capable of heating your filaments. And right over here we have those filaments. I have a red spool of the high-speed ABS. I have prepared a very bad spool. This one has been dropped. You can see it right over here. So this is going to be very interesting to see if this is actually going to work with a very small amount of filament, because we want to look at the re-spooling function or the replenishment function. Also a very small amount, and then we have a bigger amount. So yeah, we are going to load up the 4 base. We have one different color because we are going to do some color switches together with the other testing that is going to be going on. Now let's prepare the box for the filament and see what is going to happen next. This is going to be the first box. And here we can also hear the ratcheting noise. This is the bad spool, so this is the one with the dent. And so far it seems to be just fine. All right, so we are going to put in the second spool. There we go. Now the clacking noise that we are hearing from the ratchet system, pretty annoying. I think with the top down it is going to be mostly fine, so I'm going to close it for this one. I think it got even louder, the ratcheting. Yeah, this is not going to be great if I want to do any type of shooting for some YouTube videos while this system is running and color changing. Very unfortunate. So we can see right over here, it is retracting all the filament past the sensor. I have no clue why they are doing it that way, but hey, we can see it. The filament is sitting right over there. The box is not complaining right now. Now, because this is ABS, we are going to turn on the heater again to the 65°C that we had previously going on. All right, let's press this, put it at 65. Press confirm and we are going. So it is even heating without knowing what kind of filament is in here, which could be potentially very risky, because if this one right now has any kind of a PLA in it, you are in severe trouble. And this box, believe it or not, is an absolute nightmare to disassemble a clock in the extruder. You have to basically remove every freaking bolt. There is no hatch underneath this box to do any type of maintenance. So yeah, you will be very busy if you screw this box up. So first of all, we can see we have rack. This is going to be your external spool, I guess. Well, I don't understand how you would connect an external spool, except that this mount right now, I'm not sure, but this mount is not even fitting anymore. So if you're going to do anything else with a new spool, this spool, I have no clue. So you will have to find out how you are going to put a spool in here that is going to work with this whole system while we now have this madness hanging on, except if you always remove this part right over here and replace it that way. But to be honest, it will be neat if we have something that combines all of these things, so your spool holder is not obsolete like it is right now. So I can definitely see people going to redesign this so we can combine these two spool systems together. Missed opportunity, Qidi. Right over here we have all our spools. Let's press this spool. Let's press it again. Then vendor, this is going to be generic. The second tab, we can set what kind of filament we have in there. For this testing, we are going to use the generic ABS profile. We can see temperatures between 240 to 80. Let's see if we have a better one. Nope. So all the ABS profiles are basically all the same temperature range. So I'm going to set it at ABS. Then a color. In the first bay, we have green. Let's confirm it. So right now we can see we have loaded green ABS. The only thing I can't change right now is going to be the temperatures of the box. So yeah, I'm shit out of luck. All right, so we are trying to reset the heater and it is bumping me down to 45 degrees because that is going to be the drying limit of the ABS, or that is what they want you to use. So there is no possibility to change that out, which is unfortunate. So when you are starting to change out these values, then the max set temperature is going to be what it is right now. So 45 degrees. So I'm going to do the same for the other two spools. So there we have it. We have our first three spools, which are ABS green. The last one is going to be ABS red. All right, now I'm going to try and do something. Let's try and load the first spool, which is going to be this one. I'm not sure if I have to select it or not, but let's select it just to be safe and press the load button. We can see the printer right now is starting to home because we're doing ABS. I'm going to put my top lid on just like that. So this box is now starting to load. We have selected the correct one. We can see it coming into the printer, and there we have it. We also have our first poop. So in the previous print, we have done some ABS, glass-filled ABS from Siraya Tech. And right over here is going to be our first multicolor poop. Right now, everything seems to be working. Unfortunately, for the next test, we need to try Qidi Studio because it only works with that unless we are changing out some command lines. Also, a very first observation I can have is that we have moisture buildup underneath this acrylic cover. We can also see it right over here. We have some moisture buildup. This is a good sign. The heater is working, but the bad thing is because we have rubbers all over the place, that this right now is a moisture trap that you will need to open up to let the moisture that is in there evaporate. You can see it right over here. This is all moisture and it is now all getting out of the system. So the heater is working really, really well. It is probably harder to spot for you guys, but we definitely still have moisture trapped inside. Now, one thing I found out, which is what I'm going to try. You can see it right over here. We have little rubber grommets. So I'm going to open this puppy up and maybe we can vent out the moisture that way. In the meantime, I also figured out how to get higher box temperatures than the 45 that was demanded by the system. And for that, we need to be right over here. So if we go to the configuration, right over here, we have an official filler list. And right over here, we can make all the adjustments that we want to. For instance, the max temperature I raised to 310 degrees Celsius, and the max box temperature I also raised to 61 degrees. So this is something you can play around with. So like I told you, right over here, the official filler list, this is where you need to be. I also done some changes in the printer.cfg. For instance, the check gain time, I raised that value because we were, not reaching it in time. The same is going to be for right over here, the heated bed, the gain time to get at 100C. It is a little bit too tight. So the first thing I have done is change this from 0.4 to 0.6 to get the original heater value. Otherwise you will never reach the 60C, or at least that is in my case. We are not having enough heated power output. And then we have these two lines right over here, these two bastards. You can comment them out or just remove them entirely and then save the config. This is just to keep the heater from heating up at the same time as the heated bed. So right now with these adjustments, we can now redo everything we have done on the original firmware. So we have done it in two colors. We have a red part right over here, a green part over here, and we have a perch tower in the middle. Right now we are using the original flush settings of Qidi Studio, the software I haven't used in probably years right now, but hey, for instance, right now we are going to do 76 filament changes. We are going to waste about 41 grams just on purging, and then we are going to waste another 4.7 grams on the tower, and the complete model is only 20 grams. So this is going to be a very expensive print. We are going to over double the waste of the actual object we are going to print. Then we can also flush into objects, infill and all of that. So maybe I will play around with the flush volumes. Right now we have a multiplier of 1. Maybe I will change that out to a 0.5. But the real test will be with white and black and see what kind of results we are going to get by that. But right now we are going to do the basic stock flushing setup. I just enabled flush into objects infill. Not sure if that's going to speed up anything. So the only thing we need to do is wait for 4 hours, 12 minutes and see what is going to fail or not. Also right over here, there is definitely not enough filament to finish the object. So I'm going to be really interested if it will auto switch to the second or third bay. When we go on our device and we scroll down, we can see that right over here we have bay 1, bay 2, bay 3 and 4. They call it A, B, C, D. And when we click on it and go to config, you can see the extra options enabled or disabled. Another thing is that symbol right here at the top. Not sure what it is doing. Same for here. You can click it, but nothing really is happening when you click on those. Then right over here we have our moisture level. Right now we are at 44% and we have an auto button. Let's click that auto button. When the printing consumable is depleted, the system will automatically reload in the following order. So first at 1C and 1B. So it looks like we have the whole thing set up at 1C, 1B. I also don't see any way to change that. But the weird thing is, right here with the red one, if we do auto, it is also saying 1C, 1B. So I'm not sure if it is going to use any other ABS than that color, which is pretty weird. You don't want to replace the red with green. Maybe in a pinch if we are going to fill the object otherwise, but yeah. This is not looking like it is very optimized right now. So one thing we need to do right now is start printing this object and see what kind of a mess we are expecting. All right, the printer is nicely preheated. We are going to start a print and I'm going to leave this mic next to the Qidi box so you can hear how loud the rattling mechanism is. I probably will have to boost the audio a little bit because the microphones like this one are more using the vibration of your voice and not the actual sound waves, which is some kind of weird magic going on with these mics. But still, you will hear the ratcheting. Every layer we are going to have a color change. That's why we are having so many color changes and so much waste, because we are now super inefficiently trying out multicolor printing, which is actually what we wanted. All right, enough rambling, time to make some noise. I'm so sorry, I already have to complain. Why the hell is this machine doing 6 filament purges before even doing a print? What the hell? It didn't even level the plate and it's already doing 6 filament purges. I don't get it. I truly don't get it. Why this is wasting so much filament and we didn't even level the build plate. So this is what's happening with the almost empty spool. Yeah, this is not ideal. So we definitely need something to to put some more weight on that cardboard spool. So right now it's telling me feeding filament failed. Now this could be my problem because I snipped the filament too early. I probably should have waited until it fully loaded so it has enough filament to complete the track into the printer right over here. So I'm going to redo it. Hopefully we don't have to restart the whole print and yeah, try to recover this madness. So this bay has been empty. It's been empty for 2 minutes now, and the only thing this printer is doing right now is trying to purge 1 meter of filament through the poop chute. So this is what it's basically doing right now for the past 5 minutes, purging this complete line until it's probably at the point it doesn't reach the filament sensor. I guess. I don't know. This is super inefficient. I have no clue if this is something that you can see on a bamboo when the spool gets empty right here in the bay, if it stops it prematurely or if it also purges the whole 1 meter through the nozzle into this waste bucket, because it looks like it is going to keep doing that until the print head right over there just stops seeing filament, and then it will switch over to the next bay. 1A feeding filament failed. So it has absolutely no clue that it needs to switch over to 1B. Unless I do something wrong, but oh my god, what the hell is this? So, I'm not sure what I'm doing right now. Let's give it a retry. It is giving me the same feeding filament failed, which is highly unfortunate, so we don't have automatic filament swapping. Not sure what I did wrong, but seriously. So now we got this error. G-code error, the value slot number 2 is not a valid slot. It's the same freaking filament. What the hell are you talking about, not valid? What the hell is this thing trying to say? So, this completely failed. We have wasted over an hour purging a bunch of junk just because the thing didn't want to switch the filament thingies. So, it extruded the whole filament tube, PTFE tubing, and instead of swapping to the second one, which is what we tried to set up, the same filament, same settings, same profile. The only thing we did was in the fourth bay, we picked a different color with the same filament profile. And it just said, screw you, we are going to quit with the object. Now this print is completely ruined. This print is ruined. It didn't even give me the chance to say, hey, you know what? Maybe let's try the second bay. So I have no freaking clue. All I know is this is highly frustrating. Right now, this is absolutely not recommended for you to do this, even if you just want to switch out your spools during the print. It is that bad, unfortunately. And here are the results of 5 hours and 31 minutes of failed prints. Oh my god. It actually did it. It did switch out the spools. And just when I was starting to talk positive about it, we got a new error. We lost the MCU1. I think it's going to be in this box. From what I can hear from my friends at Team 7, the MCU in here, so the processor or what it's called, gets overheated and you lose connection. This box has been running the whole night at 60 degrees with the little rubber grommet right here in the back open. And I can also see that all the moisture that was built up in here is all gone. So if you have a very high moisture content filament like me, the rubber grommet right here in the back is going to be your solution to get rid of that moisture. Great, we switched out the spool. We can also see there is a huge, massive amount of purged material right over here, and we had the field print because of the bad adhesion issues. I should have put on some glue stick, I didn't, my fault. Now, the system actually ran pretty good, but 5 hours, 45 minutes, and then this load of crap, yeah, that's a little bit much. This is a problem with all multi-material systems these days. You will have a bunch of waste. There is just nothing you can do about it. How did I make this work? First of all, in the screen of the printer, you have to set Qidi filament to ABS. And in the slicer, you need to do the exact same thing, which means you select Qidi filament, ABS, and make it all the same, like right here in this printer. And then if you upload your file, it will change out the spools and think it is going to be the same thing. As soon as you are going to do custom filament profiles, nothing is going to work, and it will stop and complain to you that wrong filament is loaded in the next bay. Even when you are selecting for all 4 bays the same filament profile, it is not going to work, unfortunately, at this time. Which means that right now you are stuck with Qidi profiles to do all your multicolor printing if you want the empty spools to be replaced by itself. Multicolor printing works with your own custom profiles, but if one of the spools gets empty and you wanted to switch to another one, that is not going to work. What can we conclude from this little video? We had a bunch of failed prints, it is going to take a lot of time, a bunch of waste, and the software behind the box is far from ideal. So I'm going to try and end this video with one more print. This is going to be a customer's print, so I better hope this thing is now definitely going to make it happen. So we're going to use the same filament, the same profiles. The only thing I'm going to do is change the model out for the one that the customer asked and give it one more try. This time I'm going to use what we used in the previous videos, which is going to be this 3D Jig Easy Adhesive, just because field prints are so awful. Let's clean up the mess and try one more time. The print is done, 30-hour print. This has been feeded out of the box, so this is going to be your Polymaker ABS right there in the first slot, so this is a very good result. The Qidi Plus 4 is still printing like a complete champ. I have gone on a few rants right now and all of those takes were kinda meh. But one member of Team 7 did a very good job, Steve from Helix 4D. So I'm going to let him say what I think about this box. He did a little unboxing, or I have to say a partial disassembly of the box. And here are the things that he has to say, which I 100% put my voice behind.
We happen to be big Qidi users. We like our Qidi printers, know that they have issues, but we also want to make sure that Qidi, stays honest as a company. I'm not going to get into the firmware issue right now. It's not good, but it's things like this, folks. I know it's tough to design things on the fly, okay, but guys, you had 8 months to worry about this. Qidi, you had 8 months to look at this. And I love you guys to death. You work 6 days a week, you work hard, all right? But if you had 2 units in R&D and you show that 1 unit wasn't very well received, and this is what we get. I mean, we get this. I'm going to have to take this thing apart. It's going to take another hour, maybe 2 hours of fiddling around with this thing just to get Bay 3 open. Had easily accessible modules to slip out in these bays once you get a clog. We shouldn't have to take the entire cover off, the housing apart, okay, just to get it unclogged. All right. This is why Team 7 said, give me the box before it leaves the factory. And it's frustrating. All right, we're here to help. You got free help here. Only thing that's costing you is the price of the box or the price of the printer. We're here to help. But when I look at stuff like this, and I know that you guys had 2 other units in R&D and this is the one you chose, I'm worried, what was the other one you had? Now, I don't want to turn this into a rant because I love you all over there. But man, we got to push back on this. The community has got to push back on things like this. And especially the firmware issues. You guys can release that firmware and put it back on GitHub. You may worry about somebody stealing your ideas or whatever, but this is this is something that you guys have picked up from Clipper, which is an open source resource. It's not just a piece of firmware, it's a resource. And the license agreement says you must keep the files public. Don't worry about somebody stealing your files, okay? If you do the right thing and you build the firmware correctly to complement the hardware that you have here, people are going to buy your box and put it on somebody else's printer. That's selling boxes. That's business. That's a good business model. Now, I want to see you guys do this. I really do, because, we care. Team 7 cares about things like this. We care about the community, all right? The community comes first here because they're the ones paying the bills so that you can keep your job, all right? That's what we want. We all want happy endings here. And looking at what all I have to do to get a piece of filament that's stuck in Bay 3 is out of the question. It's ridiculous. In closing, let me say this. We don't want the community being first adopters. These people are smart. The community's smart. We're all exchanging these ideas. Help us fix this thing, figure out what we got to do to mod this thing to make it easier accessible, and the community will be better for it.
So that's going to be it for today's video. We are going to await the further updates and developments on the Qidi box. Also, one thing I can tell you is I will not be reviewing the next launch of Qidi, which is going to be the Q2 combo, whatever the hell they are going to call it. It is going to be very soon, but yeah, this boy will not be reviewing this printer. I got the notice that the window is full. So I got kicked out. Alright, like always, I want to thank all the members of the channel for supporting the cause. If you're not subscribed, make sure that you do. There is a link down below if you want to buy me a beer. And guys, I see you in the next one.